Joe Biden plans to address the nation tomorrow night about his decision not to seek a second term in office. Now, Biden has returned to the White House after being in Delaware. This will be the president's first address since he announced his decision to withdraw from the presidential race. On Sunday, he issued a letter which said that he would not accept his party's nomination for president. A short time later, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris.